This is great. Steven's doing the work. I'm drinking beer. Just like the old days.
Pretty much. Oh yeah, pro tip, when you guys are grinding and cutting, you always want a cardboard box directly in the spark path.
Oh, and you also want to weld on a wooden bench with a bunch of sawdust where the guy used to cut wood.
It's the pro strats. Like, it's the stuff that we do that no one tells you about.
Nope, this engine's fucked.
Well, here we go, let's get those wheels out on the road. It may get dusty, but that's the way she goes. We'll build some greasy old cars and drink our AGD. Hey, don't you know, it's partly built.
Last video left off with us getting the 6-liter kind of roughed in. We have to do a little bit more work on welding in the mounts, but we got it kind of where it needs to be. So, first things first, we're going to yank this out. I've already pulled the 2 bolts out of the mount, so we should be able to just up and out of here. And then we're going to split up. I think Steven is going to start on the transmission. Hopefully we can take this to work tomorrow and get her washed up. And then he's going to get started with the Transgo Stage 2 reprogramming kit here. Reprogramming kit with gear command, turbo 465 and on. So, anyway, he'll get going on this. I'm going to be just like DD Speed Shop. DD Speed Shop? I'm going to have a 6-liter and a turbo 400 with a shift kit. I mean, granted, it's a 79 Buick, not a 57 Chevy. But, I mean, is there really a difference? Come on. But anyway, all jokes aside, if you're watching my stuff and you haven't watched his, go check him out. The guy is way better than me. And Steven, for that matter. Anyway, first things first, we'll get this tore out. Then Steven's going to start working on the transmission. And I'm going to start tackling all this and this. Because I have to wire in the factory wiring on the car and all of this, and I'm going to try and make, I say I'm going to try and make all the gauges work. There are no gauges in this car. I have a speedometer and fuel gauge. So, I mean, speedometer, gear indicator, fuel gauge, and the epic clock. But I just have dummy lights, so I might try and wire in the dummy lights so they work. I'm gonna have to put in a tack and some extra gauges because I need to know what's going on with this thing. Whether I keep the car wiring and take all the sensors off the Buick engine and put those on the 6-liter so that the dummy lights still work, like the oil pressure, because it's just a switch on these, they're not sensors. So there's like a coolant switch, coolant temp switch, oil pressure switch, just to turn dummy lights on and off. I want to try and make everything work so that it's kind of seamless. I'm still undecided whether I'm going to use the regular truck intake or the Trailblazer SS style intake I have here, just for the simple fact that they are better. But if I want to use that, I got to buy a throttle body, I got to put a regulator in line, whereas these have the built-in regulator. It's already a cable drive throttle body, but alright guys, so now we've got the engine out. So now we got to listen to loud noises as I drop everything. We got to get the BOP bell housing. So BOP is like Buick, Olds, Pontiac, I think Cadillac too, even though they don't call it BOPC. So the big difference between a Chevy and BOP, well, the only difference is the top of the bell housing. So actually the bottom 2 holes on each side are the same. The dowel's the same, but the top doesn't match at all. So this is actually the bell housing off Steven's Firebird off the 400 that was in it with the 4-speed. So if you look, LS is the same as old school Chevrolet, except with an LS, they don't use... LS and small block, big block are the exact same bell housing, except they do not use this bolt on an LS. There's no boss there at all. So you can bolt this up to any Chevy transmission, and all you got to worry is the stick out length on your crank. And as you can see here, I've got a adapter stuffed into the end of my crank flange so that the snout of the torque converter will fit. And I'm not sure, but I think I'll have to put spacers on the bolts on the converter, but we'll see when we go to bolt it on what it looks like. I can't find too much information on that. But anyway, so there's an adapter plate you can either build or buy. I bought it because I don't have time to build everything. And the adapter plate goes on the dowels, and I'm gonna have to clean the powder coating out of the dowel holes so it goes on flush. But anyway, so now you can bolt this hole, and this hole, and if you had a regular small block or big block or straight six to a BOP, you'd put a bolt through here to bolt the adapter plate to the to the engine. Then you can take your bell housing, put your bell housing on, and you can put the top 2 bolts and the bottom 2 bolts in to hold the whole thing together. But there's one other thing you got to do. So if you look in right here, you'll see that the block here, get my fat finger in there, this adapter plate has nuts welded to the back for the bolts that go through the top 2 holes, but there's not room in the block right here for this to go in. There's a boss right here. So what I have to do is I actually have to take a grinder and cut this bolt hole out. Not a big deal. It's not going to affect the structure of the block at all. But I highly recommend everybody go out and get a BOP Turbo 400, Turbo 350, whatever. Because you can get a Turbo 400 BOP transmission. Usually nobody wants them because they all want the Chevy transmissions. So you can get them for like $200-300 less. This adapter plate was like 80 bucks Canadian off Summit. So if I had to go out and buy a transmission, I could buy a Turbo 400 out of a Buick for like 150 bucks, whereas a Turbo 400 that was behind a big block is like 500 bucks.
Holy doodle, that thing was in there when I was last year.
Oh look, Steven's back.
Lots of work's been done.
Yeah, I did lots of work. I pulled 2 bolts.
Nice. Nice.
Alright guys, so hopefully the filming's a little better now that I remembered to turn stability back on so it doesn't look like I got Parkinson's when I'm filming.
How the hell does this work?
So I cleaned out the paint out of the dowel holes so then it hits the dowel.
These hit.
Yeah, there's some screwing around. You might have to shave those a little.
What a lovely.
Well, it's a generic. It's not for necessarily an LS. Where do they hit at? We could cut.
Look down here.
We could just cut a chunk out of here, Steven.
You'd have to cut out for basically all 6 bolts right there. No, that one will clear. That, and that.
Well, here, I got an idea. I'll put a little bit of grease on the bolt heads, and we'll touch it in, and then we'll just drill holes where the bolt heads are.
Yeah, that'll work.
It's not going to hurt it. We pulled the oil pan back off because we marked how much we got to cut out of it, and Steven's going to take it to work and cut it, and then I'm going to take it to work and clean it in our ultrasonic cleaner, and then we're going to attempt to weld a 20-year-old oil-soaked chunk of aluminum. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, so we just put grease on the bolt heads, as you can see. And then Steven took that auto centering punch and marked them. So now we'll just clean them off. I'll set up the drill press and we'll drill them out.
Ripping down. This might actually almost be too fast.
It guaranteed it's too fast.
Damn it!
It was 700,000 miles an hour here. You know what's funny? This kit has a Matco sticker over top of an Irwin sticker. So if you want these Matco ones, just buy Irwin.
What is that? Like, you know, the good old made in USA stuff?
No, it says Turbo Max made in China. Right on it. It says Turbo Max, made in China.
Made in China.
China. China, China, China.
You know, if we can thank Trump for one thing, it's just for the way
China,
he says
China, China.
But hey, you know,
And I don't feel like editing 17 hours of footage for 12 minutes of video.
it's easy to highlight and delete. Well, let's just see if I drilled these holes in the complete wrong location.
Probably. It's us.
I mean, it's me, so probably. Oh, hey, look at that.
Most of them are pretty close. This one's off.
cock.
This one's off a little. They're all off a little.
Actually, that one's. That's pretty damn close. That one's like bugs nuts in there.
Nice reprogramming kit.
Let me just reprogram my Turbo 400 here. Let me plug my laptop in.
Beep boop beep.
Just let me break out my cardboard box and plug it in.
Where's your typewriter?
Pretty much.
So Steven's all worried when I'm telling him I'm going to use this Turbo 400 and putting a converter in it, and he keeps worrying about me blowing it up. I'm like,
Well, no, you might.
it's 300 horsepower, and it's me driving, not you.
Well, yes.
Let's Loctite those.
But I know what else is also coming on this.
What else is coming, Steven?
Maybe even a bit of the pressurized air.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, who does an LS swap and doesn't try to turbo it, especially when you have an iron 6-liter?
Okay, pussy. Okay, where did those two love that?
So, on a separate note, Steven has horrible ideas for me to spend more money on another project. Would you like to explain the project you want me to do?
There's no such thing as horrible money in projects. So, recently, we have come in access to an LS6 and a T56 that is inside of a heavily banged up car. And this car also has some Brembo calipers I'm going to use for junkyard. But that's a story for another time.
And possibly leather seats for this.
Yeah, that too. But, anyways, LS6 and a 6-speed. I think Mike needs to have a muscle truck just like mine. He's got himself, I don't know what year, 86 Chevy red cab long box.
I'll put a picture right now.
Which, as far as I'm concerned, he should drop the long box. He should be a man, put a short box, but he should be a real man, put a step side box.
Step sides are okay, but I like a fleet side.
Yeah, you know.
And I'll be honest, those square body Chevys are the last truck to actually pull off a long box well.
Yeah, it's still a long box, but anyways. So that's the point. I want to have him. I need him. He has to have a muscle truck, so we can, you know.
Steven wants me to be happy, have my high school truck back again with a 400 horse LS and 2 extra gears that it doesn't have now. So it'd be really nice if I had it back and was able to drive it. And I've been planning on doing something for a while. So maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to come up with $4,000 and buying an engine and tranny for it. But
Muscle truck.
I also have this to build.
Muscle truck.
This to build. I've got that 49 Chevy if I ever pay for it.
So anyways, you probably can't see in there. I can't get a light organized, and I'm probably too stupid to operate all this equipment. But anyways, well, that works too. But we have wild rust and moisture issues right on these valves. So it doesn't really, the lighting kind of sucks here.
So
but take our word.
The deal with this engine is I bought a wrecked truck from work for $1.05 because I had to pay tax. And got a 6-liter 6 years ago? No, 5 years ago. Maybe it wasn't as good a deal as I thought. It sat for a while before I got it.
So yeah, we're gonna strip some heads off and assess the damage. We know it either needs definitely seats and valves, or we just go to the junkyard and just find another set of heads for it.
Well, we're gonna see what the cylinders look like.
Yeah.
If the heads look like that, cylinders are probably fucked. All the hardware's out, the rockers are out. Inside this head looks really clean in here. There's like rust on 1, maybe 2 valve springs. The other side doesn't look as good, but see if we can get this off and we'll see how bad the cylinders look. Hopefully it's just heads. Nope, this engine's fucked. This engine is complete garbage. So, my $1 6-liter she's garbage. Complete and utter garbage. So I guess I'm going engine shopping. I guess all I got is parts, possibly a rebuildable core, but I mean, I guess we'll still pull the other one off and see what the other side looks like, but I was worried about the valves, but the valves might be the least of my problems. Actually, the valves are the least of the problems. Good Lord. Wow. And the cylinders weren't in horrible shape if it wasn't for the frickin' rust. I don't know. I guess it's a good thing it only cost me $1. The funny thing is I've put this engine in, this will be the 3rd vehicle I've put it in, and I never finished the swap and made it run. And I was thinking about selling this, but I guess it's a good thing I didn't sell it. I'll pull off this other head and we'll see what we see. Good news, guys. There's one good cylinder. So yeah, this engine is just garbage. Like if anyone wants to give me 20 bucks for a core for a 6-liter, she's yours. Like I said, it's a good thing it only cost $1 because it's not worth anything now. Son of a biscuit. Oh well. These heads would clean up and be revalved, so the heads are still worth something, but I don't know if the block's even worth fixing. 6-liter blocks are still fairly cheap for what they are. Son of a gun. I do know where there's an aluminum 5.3. Actually, I know where there's a couple of them. I could maybe snag one of them, but I liked the idea of having a 6-liter. Everybody's doing 4.8s and 5.3s now, and because nobody can afford 6 liters, or I don't know. I might have a good crank and stuff, I guess. You know what's funny? I have another 6-liter block at my parents' house that I was going to do a stroker for my old Firebird, and just ran out of time, money, energy, ambition, and other projects showed up. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll make one at it. I do know where there's another 6-liter and another 5.3 for sure. And an aluminum 5.3, but someone already spoke for the aluminum 5.3, but money talks and he hasn't paid for it yet, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to roll this bad boy over, because at the very least it's a good mock-up block for us to build the oil pan. Today's November 9th. We have the 11th off for Remembrance Day. I believe it's Veterans Day in the States. So maybe we'll come in and work on the oil pan then, but I wish I could say I was a little more depressed than I am, because actually, to be honest, I'm not mad about this at all. I paid $1, and I had it, didn't use it for, I've had it for 4 or 5 years, so it is what it is, guys. But yeah, kind of a letdown, but you know, you can't change the past, so find a solution and move forward.